In terms of drivability, it's fantastic. It gets 10 out of 10. You know, just so much torque, so easy to drive. It's really taily and fun, and tons of torque and hilly, and something like that is where that car's totally suited, where it can use all of its turbo torque and lots of oversteer, and it is chuckable. I think it flattered the car. It was its sort of course, and I reckon that, you know, put a really good driver in that car and do a time around that track, and I don't know what the record is, but that thing came bloody close to matching what it would be. It's a 2004 interior, so it's not the latest and greatest, but that could be a good thing. It's nice and simple. It's got lots of Alcantara and stitching, so it looks kind of like a BMW CSL in a way, which is a good thing again. Pretty good vision, easy to use, not much bullshit factor, and that's a good thing in an era where that seems to be becoming more and more common. It's nice to have something simple. If you drive behind it, you know, it's sort of narrow little 1 Series with these massive fat 265, 35, 19s on the back of it. You know, it's, you know, a WRX has 225s or something like that. I'm not saying it looks silly, it just looks like it's flogged someone else's shoes, you know, or wheels in that case. You can't escape the bits of the 1 Series that don't quite work, I think. You know, those bowed, the banana side sills, which have been hated, I think, by almost everybody. But you know, the coupe's proportions are right. It's kind of chunky. It still kind of has those little cutesy Pokemon headlights that, even with all the lenses in them, it doesn't quite somehow butchered up enough. And the new generation one has changed that, although I still don't know whether they're quite there, you know. The new 3 Series is great. It looks aggressive and angular and like it should do, you know. And I think the one's sort of trying to mix what it's inherited from its, you know, genes and what the M car's trying to be, you know. I think the biggest issue is that it has so much torque, and the ESP seems to be tuned so sensitively to that you find that it's constantly knocking power down. You're trying to put power down over a roundabout, you know. You want to hit it to the M mode where it's sort of half on, you know, it lessens the parameters, gives you a bit of playroom, and even then it still kicks in quite a lot. So you're thinking, you know, just how much grunt does this car have? Yet when you turn it all off, it isn't really that terrifying, you know. It's sure, when you get it really broadside, you're not quite sure how much further it's going to go, but I don't know, I find that really frustrating about it. I tended to turn it off in the dry and just deal with your own driving, and in the wet, it's sort of something else. I think you'd be a brave person to do that. I'd probably leave it on. It's the first time that an M car has borrowed an engine directly out of a normal BMW without any tuning at all, other than maybe acoustics. Same power, same torque, same rev points, same compression ratio, everything, it's the same, but it has a manual gearbox only. However, you know, it emits maximum powers at 5,900, and anything beyond that, it just falls off a cliff. You know, it really, and the torque, the power curve shows it, and that's, to me, not what a petrol M engine should be doing. It should be revving its tits off and making more and more and more power, just like a Porsche engine does, and this one doesn't do that. And that's the one thing you did notice at Haunted Hills. On some of those steep hills, when you'd wind it out of the gear, if you wound it out to 7,000 to the red line, you knew that the last 1,000 revs were a waste of time, and you would have been better short shifting and relying on the torque. And there's just something about BMW M and that characteristic that doesn't gel, because that's the way it's never been. Whether it's a true M car, debatable, but some people think it is, some people think it isn't. The fact they're potentially about to do diesels and a few other things and stuff, kind of will then put the 1M in perspective, and then it'll look fantastic, I imagine. Right now, I'd much prefer an M3, a second-hand one even, to be honest.